Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. And today, I don't know if this qualifies as a story. This is more of a follow up on someone that's been practicing the ever so popular no contact rule. Seems to be my most popular video by far. And it's important. No contact's at the core of every breakup, about moving on, about moving forward, and possibly getting your ex to come back to you as a bonus. So this guy, maybe I'll put it in the show notes that the video that I made for him before. He thought it was really good. He's a university student. He said he's a weightlifter of some sort. You know, he's very confident about the way he looks. He's a good student. He's doing really well in school. He looks at himself as a pretty good catch. I'll just say that. He's got a lot of confidence, and his story was well written. And basically, him and his ex, from what it sounded like, I think she was 21, he's 22 or 23. I'm not sure the exact ages off the top of my head. But she basically came to him and said she wants to do more partying. She's 21 years old. She wants to, it's not personal. She just wants to go out with her friends more often and party and see what else is out there. And and I mentioned in the video, it's not personal towards him. I think that she probably still loves and cares about him. And I said there's probably a good chance if it doesn't work out on the other end that she calls or contacts him because he didn't do anything wrong. He's still, a masculine, by what he tells me, a good-looking guy, confident. So this idea that she started hanging out with some friends and really wanted to see what it was like to party and be on her own is not uncommon at the age of 21, 22, 23, right? So he's been in no contact for a little while now, and he said it was okay to make a video with these responses. So sometimes people send me emails, and they'll just say, hey, can I email correspond and maybe drop you a donation or something like that rather than keep making me videos, because I'll make the first video, but we can't continue to do that every time, right? And then we do a live coaching session possibly. That might be next here. So he writes to me, Mac, well, that was quick. My ex was almost able to make it a month without wanting to meet up. So almost a month. We'll be having dinner tonight. Just wanted to say thanks again for the support you gave me and countless others. No contact is magic as long as you work on yourself in the time being. So that was the first email he sent me. And then he followed up a few days later. Thanks. Still pretty confused about how I feel after dinner. Nonetheless, everything went perfectly in my favor. There is no such thing as perfect. It's actually a dangerous word to use. I got into the car and she was super apprehensive at first, but I kept her talking about what she did over the last month. When we got to the restaurant, we talked a little bit about where we stand. Turns out she was fixated on me for the entire period of no contact. Well, that's good to know. So I'm assuming she told you that. She said she did her fair share of partying to fill the void. Well, that was her intention in the beginning, if I remember correctly. She attempted to have a rebound relationship but couldn't connect with him because she kept comparing him to me. I kind of mentioned this was a possibility, especially when you're young and you didn't do anything wrong and you were a good catch and everything like that. You weren't in a bad place when you guys broke up. That a lot of times she'll be comparing you to the next one. And if it doesn't add up, then that's a reason to come back to you. Because of this, nothing transpired, thankfully. That's what she told you. And it probably is true. I don't want you to, think. I gave cryptic answers with regards to my feelings, but told her that I think she is worth the emotional risk I'm taking by being on this date with her. Well, you ruined the cryptic part once you'd said that. That was movie-like. She made the numerous comments about how good I looked. So that's fucking outstanding. And I even admitted that the separation was actually beneficial for me in many ways. Good. It should have been, because my confidence and ego has overwhelmed her in the past. I tried not to brag too much about myself. Afterwards, we came back to my place. Okay, so now that I regained some power in this ordeal, want what you can't have spell has been lifted, and I'm questioning whether or not I should further invest in the relationship. Good question. This is at the point where you have the power, where the tables have turned. When it was all said and done, I told her, don't overthink anything and text me whenever you feel like it. That's when you got weak. So you basically told her, I'm here anytime you need me. So the mystery and everything was done from that point. Another issue I see pending is her best friend or roommate. This low status individual's super jealous, not superior, super jealous when my ex and I would hang out so much to the point where she shames her. This is something to really look at. This is a huge red flag. I've seen it in a lot of college or university relationships. I've just talked to a guy in a live coaching in New York, and he's going on and on about, missing his ex and this and that. I'm like, the question I commonly ask is, tell me something you're not going to miss. He's like, oh man, her roommate who has no boyfriend, hasn't been with a guy, and treats her like a girlfriend. And this is dangerous because you're taking away not just their best friend, it's almost like their sister. And the fact that you call her a low status individual, I don't know what that means, but if let's put it this way, women are always in competition for looks and attention. And if they're roommates, like there's 2 or 3 in the group, and there's one girl who's not good looking or doesn't get a lot of attention, doesn't have a lot of energy, maybe this is what you'd classify as low status individual. Sounds a bit harsh, but let's be real. Then if she's best friends with, say, your girlfriend who's maybe a high status individual or good looking or charming or outgoing, that really is a crutch for that girl in the house. And she probably gets jealous, like you said, and that's something you can't just make go away. Your girlfriend is not going to say like, oh, Karen, who she lives with, wants to come along with us for the Halloween party or do this, and she's going to be like, you can't just cut that out, because that's like roommates, especially in college, are like little family members. They get really, really close. My ex told me that she was openly against the idea of us going out tonight. He's talking about the jealous roommate. I would appreciate some advice on how to handle this clingy roommate. You know what? It's your girlfriend or your ex-girlfriend's job to deal with it. You cannot tell her. You got to be neutral about it and not react. You got to go, well, you know how she is, or she's entitled to her opinion. I'm happy you came out. But if you sit there and start bad-mouthing her or let her get to you, that's not a good look. To say, oh, God, I'm so sick of her or this or that. If you could stay neutral and center in a situation like that, I know she's always kind of been close to you and it's probably upset her, but I'm really glad you decided to come out. And that's how I would put it. It's more about empowering her to deal with the roommate rather than you encouraging her to do this or that, if that makes sense. So the fact that she still came out, you need to say, you know what? I knew you could think for yourself, or whatever you want to say, but encourage the fact that she's dealing with it on her own, but do not try to tell her she needs to get rid of her or say that she's a low status individual. So I'm just reading what he said here because he mentioned something else. He also sent another email fairly soon after that. So that's how I would suggest dealing with the clingy roommate, which is very common, especially in university. He said, go right ahead and make a video. Many things that I said, way I conducted myself was synthesis of advice given by you, Corey Wayne's videos, and a sprinkle of Love Advice TV. I'm not familiar with Love Advice TV. Corey Wayne's a YouTube legend, specifically doing subtle things to surprise your ex. If I could give one tip, it would be to take a couple minutes before the encounter and visualize yourself telling your ex these things whilst maintaining masculine body language and staying composed. So you were a little nervous going into this. Oh yeah, one last item I found to relieve some of the tension is to use humor. Absolutely. You always need humor. I mean, that's a given, right? Ex appreciated your sense of humor during the relationship as long as it's used appropriately and not overplayed. The goal is to show her that spending time with you again can be a fun experience. So all this said, so he gave me some tips afterwards to share with the audience that he thought worked well, the humor thing, and visualizing what he's going to do in a masculine way before meeting her. I think that's cool. I've never done that before, but yeah, that could work. Okay, I'm with you. Then he had a follow-up email 3 or 4 days later just saying that actually now they've they've become a little bit more distant already, and she hasn't been responding to texts as quick as he thought she would, and he's kind of not back to ground zero, but he's hurting a bit again. And I just want to, I don't want to go into detail about that, because this is what happens sometimes. You put yourself out there, you went into no contact, you got the date, you go out with her, you had a good date, she seems like she's interested again, she misses you, and then the next 2 or 3 days, she's a little bit distant, she's not answering your emails, she's not lovey-dovey. And what I'm telling you is, even if you get the date and you get the interest, you're still not going to be where you were at the pinnacle of your relationship, if that makes sense. Because she was feeling you out. She was going, all right, I haven't heard from you in the no contact. You went out to dinner, you just reintroduced yourself as someone that's still interested in her. So the mystery's over for her. The challenge is kind of like, oh, okay, now I know now I have you here. And the next email he sent me, I won't go into detail because he said he didn't want to share all the information on that one. But basically he spun backwards into, now he's, reiterating to her, like, I'll give you some more time and space. It sounds like that's what you need. And basically what I said is, you don't want to be the one to give me more time and space. You want to be a strong, confident individual that has other options. And if you're a strong, confident individual, you don't need to wait for her to sort things out. You can just move on, and you don't even need to tell her that. But the fact that you're like, sort things out and then get back to me, it's just like, fish in the pond that I can come back to at any point. And the reason I'm sharing all this is because everyone's goal, a lot of time your goal with the no contact rule is to get that date, meet back up, and he got it. But there's still no guarantee that you're going to get to that point where you're boyfriend and girlfriend again, loving each other. It doesn't work that way. It's still going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of hustle, and it's still going to be, you still need to create a challenge. So the minute that things got really good here, right? Good date, good dinner, went really well. She came back to his place. She missed him. And then over the next few days, it got a little distant all of a sudden. It didn't seem as lovey-dovey. And now he's going, well, what happened? Right? A little bit too much too soon, and you didn't stay centered, and you didn't stay stoic, and your expectations were too high. You stay in the present moment, and now you're almost dating all over again, like you started over again. You don't just slide right back into that pinnacle part of the relationship. Now you're going to have to go out and play a little back and forth game with her, probably slide back into no contact for a little bit. So I hope that helps you out there. I hope it doesn't confuse people that are in the no contact hoping to get a situation like this and be discouraged. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it's no guarantee that when you get that date back that it's all going to go flowingly, if that makes sense. It's all going to be smooth. You're still going to have to work at it. You're still going to need to challenge that woman. And you're still going to need to work on yourself and take inventory and go, wait a minute. Am I a strong, confident individual that has other options, that can do other things with my time and energy than to say, hey, when you're ready, I'm here. The minute you do that, value goes down. Hope that helps you. Please visit writemac.com if you have a breakup story you'd like to share with me and get my take, or you'd like to do a coaching session. Thank you.